Here are the top stories for today, the 19th of April 2022. President Rodrigo Duterte reminds Filipinos to be careful as they are still not safe from COVID-19 infection. President Duterte says he will make sure all laws are strictly enforced to make the May 9 elections peaceful. The president tells wealthy nations to pay for the damage caused by climate change on developing countries like the Philippines. And the PNP vows to look into allegations of electoral sabotage made by several presidential candidates. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Despite the continuous decline in the number of COVID-19 cases, President Rodrigo Duterte stressed that Filipinos are still not yet safe from COVID-19 infection. As such, the president urges the public to continue to adhere to the minimum health protocols, including the wearing of face masks. The practice has impressed the World Health Organization representative to the Philippines, Dr. Rajendra Yadav. Dr. Yadav said that the Filipinos are one of the best in wearing masks.
I'm happy to note that the numbers of COVID cases has gone down considerably, and if everything with our vigilance and ever conscious of our safety, we will be able to gain a upper hand in the fight against COVID-19. Bakit medyo mababa tayo? And ang sabi ng mga doktor, it's because we maintained the requirement of having a mask. Many are really complaining about the mask, a good number. But you know, it has to, even sa empirical data, not the scientific, na talagang maraming nagmamask, there's a low number of COVID cases. Kung ganun ang mangyari, we maintain it. And I said, I will require it until the end of my term.
Amid the decline in the total number of COVID-19 cases in the country, Health Secretary Francisco Duque meanwhile said 14 areas under the Alert Level 1 are experiencing a gradual rise in infections. The top 3 areas are Metro Manila, Calabarzon, and Central Luzon from April 12 to 18. Duque urges the public to get vaccinated during the World Immunization Week on April 24 to 30 to have a long and healthy life.
Kaugnay po ng aming panawagan sa lahat na magpabakuna laban sa COVID-19 sa darating na April 24 up to the 30th ay pagdiriwang natin itong World Immunization Week na may temang magpabakuna na, long life for all, kaya sa healthy Pilipinas. At layunin po nito na isulong ang pagbabakuna sa ating mga buntis, sa mga bagong silang, kabataan, at mga matatanda laban sa mga nakamamatay na sakit. Nais nating iparating sa bawat Pilipino na ang pagbabakuna ay nagbibigay ng pagkakataon sa lahat upang magkaroon ng mahaba at malusog na buhay. Ang mga bakuna ay ligtas at epektibo para sa buong pamilya. Nagbibigay proteksyon sa buong komunidad. At mga bakuna ay libre sa ating pong mga health centers.
All laws will be strictly enforced to have a peaceful May 9 elections. This is the assurance given by President Rodrigo Duterte in his regular Talk to the People program last night. Duterte at the same time appealed to all candidates to follow the law and honor all the rules of the elections. Duterte noted that having 2 bodyguards is already tantamount to having a private army, which could be a ground for arrest. He said those who seek protection should write to the Commission on Elections for exemption. The president said he will never allow terrorism to mar the upcoming polls, and any attempts to destabilize the election will be dealt with accordingly.
Kami pabayag sa gobyerno na magkaroon ng terrorism sa election. Wala kaming Wala kaming kinakampihan. At inaasahan namin at magbigay naman kayo ng, hindi sa amin, not to us really, but to honor the rules of electing our leaders. Ibigay mo sa tao yan. Kami, enforce the law. And we will enforce it. Maniwala't kayo sa hindi, tutuhanin ko kayo. We will enforce the law to make the election peaceful.
The military will further intensify its operations against communist and local terrorist groups to ensure orderly and peaceful elections. AFP Chief of Staff General Andres Centino said troops deployed nationwide remain vigilant against groups that might threaten the public from casting their votes. Centino said the AFP, along with the Philippine National Police and the Philippine Coast Guard, is doing its best to guard the elections so that people can exercise the right to vote for their chosen leaders without fear and intimidation. The PNP will be responsible to take the lead role in law enforcement operations, including investigation, and assist the COMELEC in the prosecution of election-related cases. The PCG will take the lead in law enforcement operations in coastal or maritime areas, while the AFP will be at the helm in holding joint operations involving the suppression of insurgency and other serious threats to national security. President Rodrigo Duterte urged wealthy nations to compensate developing countries like the Philippines for the damage caused by climate change. In a pre-recorded talk to the people on Monday night, Duterte said he is saddened by the loss of lives and destruction of properties caused by Tropical Storm Agaton. He said the Philippines bears the brunt of the result of pollution from other countries when it comes to damages. Duterte blamed rich countries anew for being responsible for climate change impacts, noting that they have spewed more carbon from their factories, homes, and cars compared to developing countries. In March 2017, the Philippines ratified the Paris Climate Pact, a worldwide effort to achieve a below 2 degrees Celsius increase in global temperatures.
Yung mga countries na maraming factories, sila yung, and yet, you will see that the result or the consequence of pollution, number one is created by, I said, factories and all, even cars. Pinakamaliit tayo, pero tayo ang pinakamasaklap dito sa medyo sa baba. Dapat ang mga mayaman na hindi tinatamaan ng destruction caused by itong pollution, bayaran nila tayo for the damage. O dapat silang mag-ano talaga na magawa sila ng anong paraan na at least equalize yung damage natin mas malaki. Tapos maliit ang ating contribution doon sa climate change. Yan ang isang problemang harapin ng Pilipinas with the next generations to come. Unless there is a radical change of the weather patterns, mahirapan tayo dito sa Pilipinas.
Philippine Ambassador to China Jose Santiago Santa Romana has passed away yesterday due to an illness. Department of Foreign Affairs made the announcement as it offers its sincere condolences to his family and loved ones. The Philippine Embassy in Beijing is coordinating with Chinese authorities for the immediate repatriation of the envoy's remains. Santa Romana was appointed envoy to China on December 7, 2016. He was hailed as a key element in the successful conduct of Manila's bilateral relations with Beijing. Santa Romana was also acknowledged for his effort in repatriating dozens of Filipinos stuck in Wuhan and other parts of China due to coronavirus restrictions.
Nagdadalamhati po kami sa pagyao ni Philippine Ambassador to China, His Excellency Jose Santiago Chito Santa Romana. Nagbibigay pugay kami sa Ambassador o kay Ambassador Santa Romana sa kanyang mga nagawa para tumibay ang Philippine-China relations. Our thoughts and prayers to the Santa Romana family.
Still ahead, the Senate questions PAGCOR over the continued betting in Isabong on Good Friday. And the PNP vows to look into allegations of electoral sabotage made by several presidential candidates. We're back after a quick break. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Paolo Medjones po para sa kampanyang Disiplina Muna na pinangungunahan ng DILG. Bakit ba kailangan magparehistro sa pagpapabakuna laban sa COVID-19? Mahalaga magparehistro dahil ito ang unang step sa pagpapabakuna laban sa COVID-19. May 3 pamamaraan upang makapagrehistro ang isang Pilipino na nais mabakunahan. Una, ang online registration sa inyong local government unit o LGU. Pangalawa, ang pagpunta sa mga vaccination centers at pagkuha ng registration form. At pakikipag-ugnayan sa mga pinuno ng barangay o sa mga barangay health center. Tandaan, online, sa mga vaccination site o sa mga barangay health centers ang pagpaparehistro sa pagpapabakuna kontra COVID-19. Muli ako po si Paolo Medjones, Disiplina Muna Ambassador na nagpapaalala, huwag matakot magpabakuna. Bida ang may disiplina. Magparehistro at magpabakuna para ligtas ang pamilya, ligtas ang bayan. Disiplinadong Pilipino ay rehistrado para maging bakunado.
Some police officers who are allegedly involved in the case of the missing cockfight aficionados are now under summary hearing proceedings. During the Senate investigation yesterday, PNP CIDG Chief Major General Eliseo Cruz said the involved PNP personnel are facing administrative cases before the PNP Regional Internal Affairs Service in Calabarzon. The PNP CIDG, together with the victim's kin and witnesses, also filed criminal complaints for kidnapping and serious illegal detention and robbery against the 5 identified policemen. They are currently under the restrictive custody at the Calabarzon Regional Police Office.
In the other incidents of missing sabongeros, the CIDG will continue to conduct investigation to gather more pieces of evidence as well as sworn statements of credible witnesses for eventual filing of appropriate charges against the suspects. To this honorable committee and to the rest of the Filipino people, rest assured that the CIDG and the Philippine National Police as a whole will continue to do our best efforts towards the resolution of these cases.
Meanwhile, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, chair of the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, assures that the quest for justice will not stop even if this is the last Senate hearing on the case.
Kahit na ma-adjourn na itong committee hearings na ito, itong investigation na ito, I hope that you will continue for the sake of justice of these people who are still missing as of the moment. So ituloy ninyo yan, huwag nyo hintuan, at sana na mananagot pati yung mga malalaking tao na nasa likuran nito.
The Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, or PAGCOR, is in hot water for allowing the operations of online cockfighting or isabong during the Holy Week. Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, chair of the Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, said he was saddened to hear about it.
You can just imagine Bernie Santo, patuloy pa rin yung isabong, parang hindi na nirespeto yung ating faith ng yung ating Catholic Church ay parang hindi na nirespeto ang ating belief.
For Senators Francis Tolentino, he said there should be at least a semblance of respect for the Christian tradition.
And it's been part of the Filipino culture to recognize our faith-based practices, noticeably on Good Friday. But Mr. Chairman, I noticed that even on a Good Friday, contrary to what PAGCOR has been saying that they have been regulating isabong, on that very Good Friday 2 days ago, there was isabong. If PAGCOR is listening, I took note of the fact that several PAGCOR casinos were closed out of respect for the Good Friday commemoration.
The Philippine National Police will probe an alleged plan to sabotage the upcoming May 9 elections. Senator Panfilo Lacson earlier disclosed that he has received reports of plans to sabotage the election. Lacson, however, said it is still under validation. PNP Chief General Leonardo Carlos said they would coordinate with Senator Lacson. Carlos said he had ordered all personnel to make sure the elections would not be disrupted. Meanwhile, the municipalities of Tubatan and Malabang in Lanao del Sur are now under the control of the Commission on Elections due to reported election threats. PNP Directorate for Operations Director Major General Valeriano De Leon said he already discussed the matter with COMELEC Chairperson Saidamin Pangarungan and had deployed the Special Action Force in both areas. The Commission on Elections has teamed up with a mall franchise to give voters a chance to get acquainted with the use of a vote counting machine before the May elections. More on this from Marita Muahe.
With only several weeks left before the May 9 polls, the Commission on Elections and the SM Supermalls have signed a memorandum of agreement to let the public experience how to use the vote counting machines. COMELEC Chairman Saidamin Pangarungan said the project aims to dispel apprehension and fear of some voters regarding the use and security of the vote counting machines. For his part, SM Supermalls President Steven Tan said they are very happy and proud to be COMELEC's exclusive partner to the Let's Vote Pinas initiative. All these 78 malls in the country will be participating in the event that started on Monday at the SM Mall of Asia. Meanwhile, the Davao City Police Office remains vigilant to ensure an orderly election despite the absence of an election area of concern or hotspot in the city. The DCPO personnel will be beefed up by trainees from the Regional Training Center 11 Philippine Public Safety College. All police personnel are on full alert and can be called for duty during the election. Spokesperson Major Teresita Gaspan again reminded the Baweños to continue adhering to the minimum public health standards even if the city remains to be under the alert level 1. Still in Davao Region, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources in Davao started Monday the Oplan Baklas of election campaign posters displayed on trees along major thoroughfares in the region. DNR 11 Director Bagani Fidel Evasco reminded local and national candidates of Republic Act number 3571 and educate their supporters not to post their campaign materials on trees as it injures or damages them. Presidential Decree 953 also prohibits cutting, destroying, damaging, or injuring naturally grown or planted trees of any kind. COMELEC Davao Assistant Regional Director and Spokesperson Attorney Gay Enumerables also reiterated to political supporters that they can only post on common posting areas. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Muahe.
In our business news, international companies are showing interest in investing in the Philippines after the passage of game-changing reforms under the Foreign Investments Act and Public Service Act. House Committee on Economic Affairs Chair Sharon Garin said the country now has laws that encourage long-term investments in underutilized public sectors such as telecommunications, shipping, air carriers, railways, and subways. Among those that have shown interest are Elon Musk's Starlink and companies from Switzerland and Australia. Under the Public Service Act, the 40% cap on foreign equity ownership is lifted from public services not classified as public utility. Meanwhile, amendments to the Foreign Investments Act would allow qualified non-Philippine nationals to invest in a domestic enterprise up to 100% of its capital and liberalizes the practice of professions. The law also allows foreign investors to set up 100% ownership of all small and medium-sized enterprises. More stories from the newsroom. The Duterte Legacy Caravan hails the creation of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict. And the Department of Tourism urges authorities to explain how Boracay exceeded its capacity of tourist arrivals. Details ahead. Stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Hi everyone, James Deacon here. The COVID-19 vaccines are finally here, and the government wants to make sure the vaccines reach us. So let's do our part by making sure that we get registered to be included in the vaccination list of our LGU. You can register right in the comfort and safety of your own homes through your LGU's online registration platform. And you can also register on-site in the vaccination venues or through your barangay. Remember, getting vaccinated is the first step towards ending this pandemic. So let's do our part as disciplined citizens. Bida ang may disiplina. Magpakarehistro at magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan.
The Duterte Legacy Bayanihan Caravan towards National Recovery in San Fernando City, Pampanga highlighted the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict as a vital legacy of the Duterte administration. The NTF-LCAC addresses the decades-long problem brought about by the communist terrorist groups. During the caravan at Camp Olivas on Monday, Maria Luisa de Guzman, Regional Director of the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency, said the NTF-LCAC has raised awareness about the communist terrorist groups and their front organizations. Brigadier General Matthew Bakay, Regional Director of the Police Regional Office 3, said that the fight against insurgency has gained a lot of ground. Interior Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya meanwhile expressed hope that the reforms and programs initiated by President Duterte will be continued by the next successor. The Duterte Legacy Barangayanihan Caravan towards National Recovery aims to cascade to the people the project, programs, and accomplishments of the Duterte administration and how they directly benefited the Filipino people. The event likewise included a one-stop shop of government services. The City Health Office of Baguio City is holding a footwear exhibit on April 21 to bolster its campaign against smoking. The Smoke-Free Baguio, a consortium composed of organizations fighting the ill effects of smoking, will display 321 pairs of shoes and slippers at Malcolm Square. These represent the 321 Filipinos killed by smoking every day. Baguio's Public Information Office said the art installation calls for stronger tobacco control policies and reminds the public that tobacco companies are neither friends nor allies. In April 2017, the city passed Ordinance 34 prohibiting smoking and its promotion in public utility vehicles, government-owned vehicles, accommodation and entertainment establishments, and enclosed public and private areas except in duly designated smoking areas. Councilor Joel Alangsab, the principal author of the anti-smoking ordinance, said even tourists are not exempted from this policy. The Department of Tourism will issue a warning against Boracay after the local government failed to control the number of its tourists during the Holy Week. The number of tourists that arrived in Boracay exceeded 21,000 on April 14 and 22,000 on April 15, or well over Boracay's 19,000 carrying capacity. The DOT said both the Department of the Interior and Local Government and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources have been appraised of the breach. In a separate statement, Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat asked local officials to explain how Boracay exceeded its capacity despite having COVID-19 protocols in place. The local government of Malay Aklan, which holds jurisdiction over Boracay, is yet to respond to the allegations. Aklan is still under Alert Level 1 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Cebuanos can now spend time praying and hold special celebrations at a new chapel of the Señor Santo Niño. The new chapel was built at the Senior Citizens Park across the administrative building of the Cebu City Hall. The chapel is inspired by both the shape of Santo Niño's crown and the fluid motion of the Sinulog dance. At the surrounding Senior Citizens Park, elderly park goers also have a good view of the waterfront and the Cebu-Cordova Link Expressway. Louis Ferrer, chair of Cebu to World, said the Santo Niño Chapel was blessed by Cebu Archbishop Jose Palma on Sunday. He noted that the Santo Niño has become the core of Catholic Cebuano identity. Ferrer considered the chapel as a new landmark that brings together Cebuanos in the journey of a modern carbon public market. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. President Rodrigo Duterte reminds Filipinos to be careful as they are still not safe from COVID-19 infection. President Duterte says he will make sure all laws are strictly enforced to make the May 9 elections peaceful. The president tells wealthy nations to pay for the damage caused by climate change on developing countries like the Philippines. And the PNP vows to look into allegations of electoral sabotage made by several presidential candidates. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day, everyone.